Okay, so it's been a while since I've made a video reviewing a new series that I've talked about because, as you know, I've been grinding out the theory videos as of late because I've just been analyzing the crap out of a single story. But that's besides the point, and I know that this channel is a lot about reviewing Japanese fiction. Today I want to introduce you to my new favorite manga. No, I'm just kidding. Today I want to talk about Real. Real is a story that I've been reading for the last, I don't know, 2 months maybe, and I know I say this in like every review video, but like deadass, this shit was actually life-changing. So either you clicked on this video to see my thoughts on Real as you've already seen the series, or you've never seen Real before. Whichever one you are, I'm going to talk about what this story is actually about. Real is a story about wheelchair basketball. It's a sports manga, and basically what this story revolves around is 3 different characters. By the way, did I mention that the author of Real is the same author as Vagabond? Takahiko Inoue is the author of Real. If you know who Inoue is, I'm pretty sure you can understand where I'm gonna go with Real. But as I said, the story revolves around 3 main characters: Togawa Kiyoharu, Hisanobu Takahashi, and Nomiya Tomomi. Jesus Christ, I hope I didn't butcher those names. Nomiya was a high school dropout, and basically his story is that he never really got to be good in school, so he ended up dropping out. He used to bully people, and he did used to play on the high school basketball team, but at the end of the day, he ended up dropping out of high school because his grades weren't good, and he just chose a different path. And speaking of path, his character kind of revolves around finding a path, around finding something you want to do in your life. And as he thinks about this throughout the story, he constantly comes to the realization that his passion is in the sport of basketball. And contrary to the other 2 characters that I'm going to mention right after this, Nomiya is not disabled in any way. He's a perfectly healthy teenager. He's 18 years old, and to be honest, I think this is what makes him so special, and I think this is what sets him apart from the other 2 characters. Takahashi is a character that is completely different than Nomiya. In fact, it's kind of like he's his complete parallel. He's somebody who everyone kind of looked up to in his high school. He had good grades. He was the captain of the basketball team, but one day loses his ability to walk because of a certain accident that happens at the beginning of the story. Togawa is a teenager who lost his right leg because of osteogenic sarcoma. His essential goal was to become the fastest sprinter, and of the 3 main characters, in my opinion, he's the one who seems to be most directly drawn towards a goal. The other 2 characters consistently throughout the story struggle to find who they really are and what their goal in life really is, whereas Togawa is like that shonen main character that has a certain goal in his mind, except he's not like that shonen main character, which I'm going to mention later in the video. What sets Real apart from other sports manga is the fact that it doesn't even focus on the sport itself. The sport of wheelchair basketball is not heavily discussed in the story. It's not heavily explained to us in many ways. It's simply some people have disabilities which do not allow them to run, so they're put into wheelchairs and they play basketball, the sport that they enjoyed. That's kind of as complex as the theory of the actual sports get. Whereas if you take a look at another sports manga like Hajime no Ippo, literally every other chapter they're discussing theory of boxing and how boxing works. So the point is that Real does not really focus on the actual sport of wheelchair basketball. Rather, it focuses on overcoming your struggles in life through the sport that you love. Of course, in this situation, for all 3 characters being basketball. All 3 characters find their own struggles and their own difficulties in their lives, yet they're all drawn towards the same sport time and time again. Now, with these 3 main characters, what Inoue does is allow for such in-depth writing and many different perspectives when it comes to the downsides of life. For example, Nomiya represents overcoming regret as well as finding one's path in life and overall becoming a better person. Takahashi represents the idea of overcoming traumatic experiences and life-changing experiences and not allowing such experiences to destroy you as a person, rather using them to find a way to better yourself and find a new path. Togawa represents setting goals as well as developing camaraderie and being successful in any way you can whilst overcoming the obstacles that are out of your control. To be honest, the main thing to take away from these 3 main characters is that they are all amazing. I mean, all three of these main characters are perfectly written. And in all honesty, this isn't some dumb recency bias. I genuinely think each of these three main characters are some of my favorite characters in all of the medium of anime and manga. In all honesty, the way Inoue has drawn these three characters and written them and connected them to the plot of his story is some of the best writing I've ever seen. And like, I'm genuinely being serious. If you read Real, if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't seen it, dude, it's like 93 chapters. You can fly through that shit so fast. Of all the manga I've read, I think actually of all the stories, movies, and shows I've seen, I think Real has actually made me the most emotional out of any of them. Not emotional as in like screaming and jumping and throwing. No, I'm talking like sad, like depressed, like very emotional in the way that you start crying. Well, I think Real has done that the most out of any series that I've ever seen, and that's not an exaggeration, because I kid you not, in the first 10 chapters I was already kind of shedding some tears, okay? And to be honest, I'm not that emotionally affected by these stories, but like genuinely, Real made me tear up in like the first 10 chapters. This was so beautifully drawn, so beautifully written. In the first like 30 chapters, I could already tell that Real was a masterpiece of a series. It's honestly such an eye-opening and incredible experience, and that's the main reason why I'm making this video, because when I read these stories, I see the lessons that it's trying to present, and I want to present it to my audience, which is obviously you guys. And I know these videos don't get the same amount of views as these other theory videos that I like to make, but at the end of the day, the juice is in these videos, because in these videos, if you take the recommendations I make, you're gonna learn a thing or two about yourself, and you're gonna become a better person through these stories. I'm gonna end the video off on one of my favorite quotes in the entire story of Real, probably one of my favorite quotes I've seen in a fictional story, and this is how it goes. Nothing goes perfectly for us, but being incomplete is what pushes us onwards to the next something. If we were ever perfectly satisfied, then what meaning would the rest of our lives hold? If that quote didn't impact you in some way, if it didn't create some sort of reaction out of you, then I don't think you heard it properly. It explains beautifully the fact that setting goals in life is the essential meaning of life. The meaning of life is setting goals and achieving those goals, because if at any point in your life you have no goals for yourself and you have nothing to be striving for, then what is actually the meaning of life? Are you really living, or are you simply existing? I appreciate all of you watching this to the end. If you did enjoy this video, make sure you drop it a like, and if you do have any spare time, I do highly recommend you check out Real, as I literally just made a 10-minute video on it, so I kind of recommend it. You guys have been going ham lately. I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers, which is like fucking mind-blowing. Like, dude, I cannot believe I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers, and I have to thank all of you so much for that. It has just been absolutely incredible. Happy holidays to you all. Take care and peace.